Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is Broman Clash right here, and today, yesterday, believe it or not, was my 20th birthday. Yeah, happy belated birthday to me. I'm a 20-year-old man. My years as a teenager are officially gone. But, today I want to talk about something that everybody's going to go through. Even when the acorn turns into a tree or a rose that comes from a bud. Everything either has an origin and then grows into its greatest point, and then eventually it withers and dies. And yes, I'm going to talk about growth. And let me tell you something, growth, despite the negativity, despite the fact that you're going to have more responsibilities, privileges, and the fact that everybody is going to go through different paths in life, but yet we're going to end up doing the same thing, and that's grow. Some people grow up in a more negative aspect, but yet they portray it in a positive light. Some people grow up in a more positive aspect, but yet they think of it in a negative light. But hard working is not bad, but doing things the fast way, you gotta be more creative, which is cool, but at the same time, you gotta be careful with things that do grow up fast. Because you know what they say, if things grow up fast, they will end fast. But if things grow up slow, then they will end slow. But the greatest thing about growth is the fact that you realize more than what you did back then. Back then you thought like, man, I had a lot of energy, I had my groove on, yeah, I could do shingle. Yeah, like that. But as you grow older, you realize like, hey, what the hell am I doing with the liquor bottle? Man, this is killing my brain cells. What the hell am I doing smoking cigarettes? This shit kills my fucking lungs. What the hell I'm thinking about, with all these dark thoughts, like, sure, you need money and all that stuff. You need some way to clothe your back, to pay the bills over your head, and, to make sure you have a roof on top, on your back. Well, not like that, but you catch my drift. But, growth is not bad. But at the same time, more, it has to be more understood than it should be like, oh yeah, let me just brush that aside and, leave it away. But let me tell you something. Growth isn't bad, but certain old habits are hard to kick. But if you really, sometimes you need to talk to people in order to get their perspective on how the way they kick the habit, or maybe you just need to sit down in a dark room and just think about how all this crazy shit just happened. And then once you realize it, you realize like, oh shit, this is how it happened. This is great. I may have done some stupid shit back then. But at the same time, I grew up. I grew to be, healthy. I grew up to be wiser. I grew up to be stronger. Hey, I used to get picked on back then. That's true for me. But I know how to defend myself. And the real beautiful part is the fact that, not many people understand that growth comes with a price or with sacrifice. All the things that you did when you were younger, it's not going to happen. Sure, you can keep on partying, boozing and drinking and all that stuff, but just like Ozzy Osbourne once said, and, I quote this, he said, hey man, that's a false existence that you're living in. You don't need booze or drugs in order to live like that. I have a God-given talent, And, Ozzy Osbourne, he may be a druggie, he may be a bit fucked up because of all the drugs he did throughout the years. Even he said, man, I was doing drugs like it was going out of fashion. But then, one day he just said, enough. Like, in order to grow, all the bullshit, all you have to say is just, enough. I don't want it anymore. Enough. I don't need it. I don't need to follow what the hell you're doing. Just don't include me in anything. Alright? I'm good. But then that's the beauty. See, look, there's a negative side of growth. And that is not forgetfulness, but the fact that you don't really have much time like you used to. But at the same time, that's beautiful because you at least have enough sense to say, hey, look, I will be there when I be there. I may not be there when you call me, but when you need me, I'm always right on time. What they always say, and the old saying goes, hey, God may not come when you call him, but he's definitely right on time. I don't like using that, but that's an analogy. But at the same time, growth, like I said before, it comes with a price. You're not going to be as young as you used to be, or you're not going to get back the years that were taken from you. You're not going to, some of the wrongdoings you can't right, but at the same time, if you're willing to improve yourself and change for yourself, if you realize like something's definitely wrong, not change for others so you can get like popularity gain or none or any of that bullshit. Like, let's just get that cleared out. Growth is for yourself more than it's for other people. When you try to do it for other people, you just become a slave. You become their benefit instead of your own benefit. That's not good. And then if you keep that up, you know what's going to happen? You're going to wind up wearing yourself down. You're going to wind up overtraining yourself. And you're thinking like, damn, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I so fucking sore? Man. And then you just yawn like I yawn. Because you're just like, man, I'm tired, man. Why am I doing this? And then, it's funny because even adults, and I want to be straight up with you, as much as I am growing up, I'm still going to have like a certain contempt or like a disdain for adults or authority that I don't legitimately respect. Because you know why? Because it's just like, oh, you use your age, you use your standings, you use whoever the hell you are just so you can get a raise out of me. That's not going to work because growth is not determined by privilege, but by your character. And no, not an actor, but who you are as a person. Now then, why are people so afraid of growing up? Why are people so afraid of being themselves? Matter of fact, why are people so afraid of just doing what they do best? You know what that is? Growing up. I mean, you can't stay in the same place forever. Just like, I remember I saw this on Facebook, and I believe Muhammad Ali said this, if I'm correct. He said, if you have the same mentality that you had at 15 years old and you're a 30-year-old man, you lost 15 years of your life. And then once that came through, and remember this, it's the message that's more important than the messenger. I understand, you may want to correct me if I say like, oh, Muhammad Ali said this, but remember the message. If you stay a 15-year-old in your mind and you're a 30-year-old man or woman, you lost 15 years of your life. I mean, 15 years of growth, 15 years of development. And this is going to tie in with what I see and how I see adults. Well, not every adult fits this criteria. Don't get me wrong. But, some adults, they're immature. They could be 45, yet they could act like they're 20 or 18 for that matter. They'd be like, yes, I'm going to the club. I'm going to hang out with the young guys. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Or hang out with the young guys. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. If you're rolling around and you got child support to pay that fucking child support. Stop playing around. Like that shit ain't cool at all. And then you're gonna wonder why, oh, how come life is so bad on me? How come I can't do anything right? How come life is not good for me? How come I can't do nothing or anything? How come I can't get a woman? How come I can't get a good man? You wanna know why you can't get a good man or a good woman? Because you haven't grown up yourself. And remember, men and women do not grow overnight. They don't. Just like good people. They are not submissive people. Good people, they'll stand up for what is morally right. Not what is, said by law, but what they know is right. And what they know is, wrong and what can harm other people's happiness. But at the same time, People have to live in order to succeed. Not through exploitation, mind you, but through understanding. Growth, like I said before, is just like an acorn or like a little seed. You put it in the dirt, you tend to it, you water it, let sunlight grow on it. See, and then it eventually grow up and then become big. It doesn't grow overnight. Take into account. The seed is the child. The dirt is nurture or the home. The water is cleanliness. The roots, like how the way the brain has roots, or memory cells inside of it, like roots and all that stuff, veins inside of the brain. You catch my drift. That's ingrained or something that you will stick with. And then water represents cleanliness. The sunlight represents wisdom. And then if you give too much of it, it will either dry out or it will get damp. So if you try to make your child too clean, then you know what's going to happen? It's going to become afraid of the dirt. And if you give the child too much sunlight, it's going to have knowledge, but it doesn't know how to apply to it. But if the child has the right balance, of sunlight, water, dirt, and then eventually it will become a tree that will grow even to conquer over concrete. Just like the conqueror cycle of, I believe, Chinese thought. Wood will always conquer over earth because it will split from the earth. Just like the child will overcome their parents if raised correctly. Now, growth, remember, starts off as a seed. Put it in dirt, like I said, the home. Water represents cleanliness. And then sunlight represents wisdom or knowledge. And then as they set their roots or their morals into play, they blossom and they grow. And that's beautiful. But then growth, that's the same way we have to grow. We can't grow overnight. We can't do things overnight because that will kill people. That will hurt people. That will damage their psyche. That's the reason why we have so many grown-up people acting like little kids. How can we have so many little kids thinking that they're grown? Their psyches are damaged. That's not growth. That's destruction. And that's the negative side of, growth. Because growth is not stimulated by, what you know or how you see things. It's by what do you perceive, what are your morals, and how do you do things. See, it's easy to say and it's easy to see, but it's hard to do and it's hard to keep your word. And then that's the problem with people nowadays. Well, majority of them, because only a select few can actually say, I'm legitimately wrong. I apologize. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to harm you in any kind of way. I am sorry. But at the same time, you gotta respect people when they say, hey, look, I still got a lot of growing up to do. And I remember I saw this quote before, and I believe it came from like Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo. Even when he was 84 or 74 years old, he said, I am still learning. And that's the beautiful part about growth too. You are still learning, even when you are an old man. The only time you stop learning, as my math teacher would say back in the 11th grade, he said the only time you stop learning is when you're dead. But even then, you can still pass on a legacy. And that's beautiful. And, and death is something, because we don't know. Some people say we are in an eternal sleep. Some of us say we relive memories. Some people say that, hey, we either get to a higher plane or a lower existence, or we live in hell or we live in heaven. That's beautiful. That's a part of growth, because Not only growth stimulates character, but also helps build morals. But when you forget about your morals, that's one half of the thing that prevents you from growing up. But when you remember that you are still growing up and you have confidence, intelligence, and patience, then you just hit growth right there on the nail. Because, hey, not everybody's perfect. You gotta accept that. But the real beautiful part is the fact that once you grow up, whatever happens, happens. Don't be afraid. Just do what you gotta do necessary to make sure that everyone is happy, but first and foremost, yourself happy. Because, make sure the people that you care about, not everybody, but make sure the people that you truly care about are happy. Because there are a lot of miserable motherfuckers out here, and they don't want to be happy. They're just like, man, I'm miserable. Man, my old lady cheated on me. Okay, that's something serious. I can't do that. But, I can't make a joke about that because getting cheated on sucks for men and women. And, people, we still think like we're teenagers. But yeah, teenagers, they come and go unless you live up to be a century. And then you could be like, yeah, I'm 13 again. It's like, no, motherfucker, you are 113. And if you live up to be 213, that means you became a teenager 3 times. And if that's the case, then you a lucky motherfucker. And I'll be like this. Wow. So you truly just said, oh yeah, I became a teenager again. I'm like, you're 113 years old. Sit your crazy ass down. That would be beautiful though, man. Live and grow old, but be careful and not. But don't suffer yourself through worldly things. I understand you need money in order to survive a little bit, but don't go off and flaunt and desire it, because that's how anxiety and grief builds. And it doesn't build character, it builds stress. That's not good. So in essence, stay up, be up, stay yourself, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And one thing I will say is this. Hope you have a great day today. Hope you have a great evening or day, depending on which part of the world you're in. This is Broman Class. Sign out at one. Hope you have a great time. Later.